The USDA just confirmed what I've been saying for months. Corn is going to get way more expensive. What's up, guys? I'm Nobody Special, and since as early as October, I've been talking about how the price of corn is headed much higher and how there was a global food shortage coming, and the situation between Russia and Ukraine was really only one small part of that. It really wasn't the main driver. The main driver was the price of fertilizer, and I've been saying for months that the price of fertilizer is going to cause U.S. farmers to plant less corn and more soybeans. And according to the USDA, that is exactly what is now happening. And with that, we are going to shrink my big, fat melon of a head. And check out this article in Bloomberg dated yesterday. Soy usurps king corn as U.S. farmers dodge pricey fertilizer. USDA sees corn acres declining by 4% amid nitrogen cost surge. Fewer seedings add to war-related global grain shortage fears. U.S. farmers are poised to plant more soybeans than corn for just the third time ever as the highest fertilizer prices on record prompt growers to turn away from the cost-intensive grain. Corn seedings are estimated at 89.5 million acres, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture's closely watched Prospective Plantings Report. That's down from 93.4 million last season and far lower than the 92 million that was anticipated by the Bloomberg survey. And folks, that is almost 4 million fewer acres of corn is going to be planted in the United States this year versus what was planted last year. That is an area bigger than the state of Connecticut of less corn farms. And just as I mentioned back in October, farmers are opting to plant soybeans instead because the fertilizer input cost of soybeans is considerably lower than corn. Here is looking at the report in question specifically, and there it is right on page 1. Corn planted acreage down 4% from 2021. Soybean acreage up 4%. Less corn, more soybeans. And you don't have to go too far to see where that's coming from, because this article dated on March 28th says fertilizer prices surge 43% to fresh records as supplies tighten. And what does that look like? Well, take a look at this chart that was in that Bloomberg article, and you can see the price of nitrogen fertilizer has more than quadrupled in less than a year. How on earth is a farmer supposed to profitably grow corn when the energy costs and the labor costs are going up at the same time this is happening to his fertilizer? This can only result in significantly higher corn prices. And I've said this before, but if you're sitting there thinking, I don't eat that much corn, this isn't going to affect me, you must understand that corn is involved in almost 80% of the products at the grocery store. 36% of all corn grown in the U.S. goes to animal feed. That's cows, chickens, pigs. Well, what's going to happen to the price of meat if the price of feeding those animals is going higher? Also, remember, high fructose corn syrup is found in just about everything in those center aisles at the supermarket, so that stuff is going to get more expensive. As I've been saying since October, there is a big-time spike in food prices coming. We're already seeing it start to play out, but it's only just getting started, folks. Remember, the situation in Europe between Russia and Ukraine, that was only part of that equation. This has been a fertilizer story all along, and that fertilizer story is now getting worse and starting to affect what the farmers are planting. And since Washington can't just leave a problem alone without making it worse, we also got this article dated 2 days ago in Reuters. U.S. considers adding more ethanol to gasoline to lower pump prices. The Biden administration is considering temporarily removing restrictions on summer sales of higher ethanol gasoline blends as a way to lower fuel costs for U.S. consumers, 3 sources familiar with the matter told Reuters. And isn't that just like Washington, D.C., folks? When it's getting too expensive to fuel your car, instead of producing more oil or producing more gasoline, why not just make the food inflation problem even worse by diverting more food resources to producing ethanol, which anybody who's tried to start a chainsaw or a weed whacker for the last 10 years understands is a garbage fuel that does not help the environment, does not help fuel prices, and only destroys small engines and mucks up carburetors, so you end up throwing a fit and smashing your weed whacker on the pavement instead of trimming your grass. Again, folks, I've been saying it for months. Food prices are going higher. In particular, corn is going much higher, and now we have the data from the USDA to support it. Farmers are planting less corn and more soybeans. This is going to affect the price of everything from corn on the cob to a bag of Tostitos to your meat to your fuel. And rather than address the problem, our leaders are still interested in Band-Aid solutions that just cause other problems elsewhere in the economy, and they're still not getting serious about taking on this issue. They're so worried about their poll numbers going into the midterms that at this vital time, they're going to divert more food resources into gas tanks, which means even more people are going to starve. So don't do what our leaders are doing and ignore this problem while it gets worse until it's too late. Take this time to prepare yourself. Have some non-perishable food stocked up so that you can absorb this hit when it comes, because it is coming. And if you want to know more about that, you can check out this video I did about how you can feed a family of 4 for less than $100 a month. Till next time, live small and dream big.